I'm calling the film Being in Heaven because when I was brought up in my school, which was run by Roman Catholic Benedictine monks, the constant remark that kept coming up was, the kingdom of heaven is within you. And I looked into that, and if you do read about in the Bible, you do read about it, you see that that phrase, kingdom of heaven, is mentioned an awful lot. So I wonder what that was, because if it's within you, it's here and now. It's not after you die. And some people object to the translation of the kingdom of heaven is within you. They think it should be the kingdom of heaven is within your midst, because Jesus was there and so on. But whether it's in your midst or whether it's within you, it's here and now. So I wasn't prepared to wait until after I died to find it, because I would wonder, why would Jesus lie? If it's within you, it's within you, you know. So I ran with that, and I realized that, therefore, being in heaven was not a place, if you look at it in this way, but it's a state of consciousness. And in the same way that you can be unhappy or happy, each of those is a state. Or you can feel sad or angry or excited. All those things are a state of consciousness. So I decided that I would look and find out what was the state of being in heaven. And quite obviously it's something to do with your system, your body-mind system, your energetic, your spirit, whatever it is you care to call it. So being in heaven, to me, others might have a different opinion, but to me, being in heaven means, how can I awaken myself to a higher state of consciousness or awareness? And obviously it must be in the direction of bliss and joy and ecstasy and divine love and rapture, not in the direction of depression and unhappiness and sadness, obviously. So I felt, what makes that? How is it that we can come into such a high state of joy and bliss and happiness and absolute happiness, which is what I call the book Absolute Happiness as well? How can we do that? How can we actually get ourselves into that state? And if we can get into that state, then we would know, or at least have a sense of the direction of the kingdom of heaven is within you. So it seemed to me that it must be something to do with my energy system. It must be something to do with my energy. It must be something to do with my feelings, those kinds of things. So I study the energy system carefully. If you look into the monasteries and the ancient traditions of all cultures and societies, you find that's what people go to these monasteries for. And you read most of the explanations of these higher states from people who have been in monasteries and religious orders and spiritual paths and self-development kinds of ways of understanding the system. So it got down to the energy. So it gets down to getting a maximum flow of energy through your system. So you must therefore ask yourself, what is it that's stopping the maximum flow of energy through my system? And what stops you is the habit pattern which comes from your childhood of having to hold yourself in, of contracting yourself and holding yourself in. So this comes about because you are not either encouraged to express yourself in full, and if you're bringing up children, encouragement is the key, regardless of what they do. You must encourage them, give them lots of attention, lots of loving attention. And the other side of it is that you are squashed, held in, contracted by being traumatized or told off or buried in some way during your upbringing. So those are the two things: being blocked and traumatized, and or not being encouraged. So those two things cause you to build a habit pattern of holding on, of contraction throughout the physiology of the body. And it is necessary, therefore, to let go of that contraction pattern. But what happens is, of course, that all these instructions to hold yourself in are stored in the subconscious mind. And the subconscious mind is under consciousness, which means you are not aware of it. So you actually can't do anything about it consciously, in a sense, because you're not aware of it. But once you start to do traditional practices, self-development work, then you find that you can start to let go of these habit patterns, and that's all they are, habit patterns built into the wiring of your nervous system of holding on. Because when you do open yourself, you find the joy, the bliss, the ecstasy, all starts to bubble up and arise of its own accord.